Hi guys, welcome to Real Talk. So in this episode we're going to talk about the pressures that women feel to live by this imaginary timeline where they have to do specific things by a specific time, such as getting married or starting to have children. And I don't think men have the same pressures. So I just want to discuss that and decipher that topic, because I had somebody who I was speaking to and they were talking about a girl who's 27 now, and she's feeling the pressure of having missed her time to get married and her time to settle down, so her window of opportunity. So I just want to discuss that. Is there such a thing as a timeline? And what do you think?
I picked up on something that you said earlier, and you said that men don't have the same timeline, and it is true to some extent, but I feel like everyone has their own pressures. So for men it might be different to us. Say theirs is to get a job as early as they can, like as soon as they graduate, and have a house at a certain age, and for women it's slightly different. So I guess we both do have imaginary timelines, but then for women it's a little bit more demeaning and not as powerful. Like, you're not presented with power.
But I think the pressure for women, it's very dangerous in comparison to the pressure for men. Obviously, maybe I was mistaken to say men don't have pressure. They do. But I think the pressure that women face, it's demoralizing. It can affect their inner self and they become depressed. Some women feel like they're not women because they have not achieved what a woman is meant to have achieved by certain times, getting married and having children. If you've missed that opportunity where society tells you that you must have been married by this point, then you might feel like you're not a woman, and that can affect your livelihood. Then you become desperate, and desperation can only lead to big mistakes. So I think it's important for us to try and identify where this pressure comes from. Where do you think the pressure that women may feel comes from?
I think it's definitely wider society, and that reflects in everyone, including their families. So whatever society is telling you to do is what your family is internalizing, and in turn that's what they're educating you with. So I think that's definitely a huge part of where it comes from, and it seems as if these pressures are on behalf of someone. So I want to get married because I would look like a more of a woman, or I want to get married because my family say so, or something like that. So it's all very outer, like it's projected onto you, like I have to do this for someone, which I think that's definitely where it comes from.
I think speaking in relation to Malawi specifically, because I can only speak for Malawi, I'm not really that familiar with other cultures. In Malawi, definitely you get a lot of pressure from your family to get married, because obviously they see other people of a similar age to you around you getting married, having children, and they might start looking at you and think, why are you not doing the same thing? So I think for women in Malawi, definitely the pressure is from comparing yourself to your peers, and I think that's where a key problem comes in, because when you start comparing yourself to others around you, you notice certain things that obviously you do not match up to. And I don't think it's a good idea for you to compare yourself to others, because you're on a different journey, you're in a different race. So for you to start thinking that you're and that you're lacking because such and such has gotten married and such and such has had a child, then that's what causes you to just accept anyone that comes along, and that might not be the person that was meant for you.
And it might not be a healthy relationship, and I don't know, you want a beautiful experience when it comes to marriage. And, like, forcing someone who might not be for you might lead to something dangerous.
Definitely. But then I think I'm going to say Africa as a whole, because our cultures are quite similar. It's more tradition. I think traditionally speaking, our parents, their parents, they all got married when they were quite young. So when they look at us now and they're like, why are you not desiring the same thing we were desiring? And from my own personal experience, I've had comments from those around me like, when your mother was your age, she had already had her 3 kids, and when your mother was this age, she was married,
this, yeah.
and you're just like, yeah, that's great.
The timeline again.
But we're living in a different time
Yeah.
to what they lived in,
Yeah.
and there's a lot more opportunities for us, and a lot more directions that you can take your life career-wise, or even just general enjoyment of life, and things to do. There's a lot more opportunities. So obviously our thinking and our mind frames have shifted from obviously just desiring this one route that all women were seen to take at one point, which was to find a husband and become Mrs. something. And that's still great, and that is still our desire.
Yeah.
But I think as a person, as a woman, you need to have more going on than just
living
seeking
for marriage
and seeking and positioning yourself to be found and to be proposed to because you think you're going to find fulfillment in this marriage. That is
it's not reality at all, because it's as if you're cancelling out everything that could be good to you, like all the opportunities. You might not take them because you think, okay, I need to be at the right place for me to get a husband or something. And like that's one thing that I think it's important to understand, that you having great opportunities and like seeking other things, like a good education or a good job, like those spaces might be the right spaces for you to be. So
you can't just sit at home and
expect someone,
this husband of yours to come from somewhere. Like you need to be living your life, and then the husband will find you as you're living that life. Don't put things off and say you're going to do them once you find a husband, because that's just, you're missing life. Because what if you don't find that husband? Because to be honest, not all of us are going to get married. That's just the fact.
So another thing, so we're talking about women who desire to get married. So it could be anyone from I don't know, teenagehood. But like, what about people who are in relationships and are sacrificing certain things because they think they're gonna get married? What do you think about situations like that, where you are in a relationship and it might be good, but you end up not taking up a job because you think you're going to get married to someone?
Okay. So for me, I think it's very important at the onset of getting into that relationship to always know that that relationship is leading somewhere. I personally don't see the point of dating for the sake of dating. So if you're dating somebody, it has to be that the end result is marriage. Now, if you find somebody that truly understands you, I don't think, for me personally, I don't think I would ever be in a relationship with somebody that will hinder my progress. Once I see that trait in you, then the relationship has to end. Because for me, a good relationship is one where people motivate each other to always want more. And it's
about trust as well. Because even if you went wherever,
you have to trust that. Like for me, my desire is to work in community development, and that's possibly going to be a job that requires me to travel a lot. Now, the person that I'm going to end up in a relationship with has to understand that and have that trust that I am going to progress, but we're going to progress together. It's not that I'm doing it alone. Once you're in a partnership, you need to understand that we're progressing together. And that's sort of characteristics that women need to start looking out for at the beginning. There's no point dating somebody and just being content that, oh, at least somebody wants to date me. Like, you need to have certain values that you for yourself. Like, your values and my values will be different because of maybe the sort of careers we want, values in life, how to raise kids and all that things. They will change what you're looking for in a partner. But I think there's certain things that, for me, I will not budge on.
And I think we as women need to have that more. We tend to sacrifice a lot of things because even like you feel, well, I've never experienced this, but I've seen it where people are like, I love him, I have to do this for him, but what about yourself? What about you? And if he really, really, really was there for you, then you wouldn't have to make sacrifices for them.
And I think that's the problem that many
the scribble.
That's a problem that many women fall into, because you find this guy that you have been with for quite some time now, you start seeing traits that might not be compatible with you. I'm not saying those are bad traits. It might just not be compatible with you. And you allow it because of this idea that I can't lose this time I've invested, and I can't be bothered to now go and find somebody else to invest it more time in. I'm on this clock. I have to get married in this time.
Well, like, am I ever going to find that person, I guess?
So I think that shouldn't be at the forefront of everything you're doing. You should just like have goals for yourself, try and live life, and trust God or whoever you believe in that you're going to meet a guy at some point when the time is right. Because most times as well, you're not ready maybe, but you're trying to force this relationship, and that's where you encounter problems. And you're just take your time. There's no rush. There's no timeline.
I feel like you would end up losing yourself and becoming someone else just to attract that person, or like to make them think that you're a certain type of person in order to get them. So it's quite dangerous that you'd have to like start switching and changing yourself for the sake of someone else.
And I think most of us, we think, because I once used to think this as well, like you think finding a guy is going to bring you happiness, and that's not the case. If you don't have happiness within yourself, no amount of good qualities in a man, or as amazing as he might be, will bring you that happiness. Happiness has to come within yourself. And you can have the most amazing guy in the world, but he will not bring you that happiness. You're still going to be miserable if like something is wrong within yourself. So I think it's important for us to work on ourselves, as opposed to thinking that you have to wait until you meet this man and then start working.
He's going to make you happy.
Complete. He's not going to complete you. He's going to
fill in a gap that I don't know you were missing, I guess.
No. And that's not fair on the guy either, because it's too much pressure. Imagine you're not dating a girl and she's having all this pressure on you. It's too much. Nobody's perfect, and you're only going to end up disappointed when he does not fulfill that role for you. So work on yourself, work on being happy within yourself, and then when the right guy comes, things won't be as hard. Things won't be so difficult for you. It will just be a natural progression in things. And I think the pressure that women are feeling from their families, luckily,
especially like African families,
luckily, like from my parents, I never felt that pressure. Maybe they're feeling it internally. They never vocalized it to me. So I'm happy. If they're feeling it, I'm sorry, mom and dad. But at 29, I'm still quite firm that I will not succumb to social pressures or cultural pressures to marry for the sake of marrying.
Marriage,
I still believe that there's a guy out there for me, and when the time is right, it's right. I'm not going to force it, and I'm not going to adjust
your life and who you are,
and like certain values that I hold that I'm looking for in a partner. I'm not going to forego that just for the sake of settling with whoever I need to settle with. But obviously this is just talking on women who have a choice. There's obviously, we're aware that in certain parts of the world there are women who don't have a choice, and they're forced into these child marriages or forced marriages or whatever. This doesn't apply to them. Obviously they're being oppressed in some way. So we're talking about women who are free to make a choice, but you have let the pressures of society and your culture and your surroundings and watching what your friends are doing. Because I think in Malawi, more oftentimes, a lot of your friends are married. And it's that...
So everyone else but me, like it's that...
And obviously you see your parents as well, like, always attending your friends' weddings, but it's never their child's wedding. That pressure of wanting to please your family. Like I said, I never felt this pressure, thank God, for having moved to the UK.
Exactly. I think that's a huge part of as to why we are the way that we are.
Yeah, because we, like, our parents never once ever said to me, why are you not married? Because they saw that I was focused on other things. And I'm sure they trust that once I've met that guy that will bring me happiness and not bring me happiness. Oh, I'm just contradicting myself.
No,
not bring me happiness, but create a happy environment together. Then I think
grow together.
Yeah, they know that once I've found somebody, then that time I'll settle down.
Yeah.
And for them, the most important thing is I don't settle with somebody that I end up regretting.
Yeah.
And surely every parent wants their most happy, safe environment for their child.
Yeah.
So that's why I think my parents are just like.
So I think when you were taking it back to the culture. When you were talking about how women feel pressure from their surroundings and their friends and stuff, I just realized that opportunities as well, lack of opportunities can be something that like forces you to feel like I need a man to depend on, especially in Africa, where like young girls don't even finish school or whatever and go straight into marriage because they need to support their parents or they need to support their families, as if like you know that's it, their role, you know, to get money through their husband or something. I don't know. Like, how can you advise someone like that who may think that that's all they have to amount to, or like that's all they can do in order to look after and take care of their families? Because it is difficult. We have a good support system.
Okay, I think obviously in life, if we think about life as it should be, as a child you should have access to education. You should have access to support and be able to educate to the highest level that you can and get a great job. But unfortunately, the world that we live in, some people are at a disadvantage. But it's just about thinking smartly and using every opportunity. If you have a goal and you have a dream, there's no set age, and this is where the timeline comes in again. Yeah. Because we're thinking on that timeline of you have to be educated by 23.
Yeah.
But there's certain people who go to school later in life and they still make it. There's no rush for you to go to school when you're 16 if that's not available to you. For me, obviously, and you, we were quite lucky. We were able to navigate through. We're able to navigate through school the normal age ranges. For some people, it might mean you getting a job in whatever it is and saving up the money and then going to school later. If your ambition is really to study, then you can find a way, I think. Like for somebody who maybe your parents don't have money to send you to school, find a part-time job maybe. I know it's hard. Like we can just talk from here. But I think there's always opportunities for you to do something to make money. You don't even have to find a job. You can start a small business.
Yourself. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, start like a small business. Like for example, in Malawi, start a mandasi business.
Freezers.
Start a freezers business. You know, that brings in a little bit of money. And it might take you years in which to save money, but you can do it. And I'm talking from experience because my dad did it. Like my dad used to live in the village. He had no money, and he grinded until he found a little job in, I don't know the area. Sorry. I was trying to say that. He grinded, found himself a job. And my dad was working in that place full time and doing evening classes and he would have to travel like 2 hours to the city to take an evening class and come back. And from that, he was able to work his way up. He became a manager of the Coca-Cola company. Come on, like it's doable. These things are doable. It's hard work, and it's unfortunate that for some people they have to work harder than what we've had to, obviously. And life is not fair, but if you have a dream and if you want to do something and life hasn't handed you the lemons, just go and grow a lemon tree and wait for it to grow and then pluck those lemons and make lemonade. It's not easy and it's hard, but if you have a dream and you have ambition and you want to get somewhere, then it might take more work than for other people. And I think that's the advice I can give for somebody who might not be as fortunate as we've been. How about you? Do you have anything else?
Exactly what you said.
So yeah,
I think it's really inspirational. I don't know what I was gonna say now, but having that mental
mindset,
having that mindset and being strong mentally is something that is important and learned as well. So I think it's in any way, as you're doing these things, or like as you're pushing on, you will like learn to appreciate whatever comes to you. So yeah, definitely.
And just think of like the amazing story that you get to tell.
Imagine
that I started from here and I've been able to progress to here, and that just seeing your life transform and knowing that you worked so hard for it, it's an amazing story. When my dad tells me the story of how he started with no shoes, and
you think about where you are, like he was able to do that, and then now you're here.
Exactly. And my kids will be better off because of
the
foundation that he laid.
And you're changing things, you're changing society and the expectations and what people think of you.
So how do you think for girls who might be feeling pressured in the normal circumstance where there's no oppression, there's no forced marriage, you're just within yourself feeling pressure, how do you think they can overcome that?
I think it's a huge part of it is probably relearning yourself, who you are, and your goals, because that way you can start to look at everything else but that. So you start to, the more you learn about yourself, the more you begin to realize what you really want and what makes you happy in life. So naturally things will change, and naturally you'll be focused on what you love to do and what makes you happy than what is expected of you, or like this pressure that you're feeling. And I don't know, it's not easy. I'm still learning myself. I still don't fully know who I am, but like I'm doing something that I love, and that like I feel good about that.
I think that's definitely the key. Just make sure that what you're doing is what you love, and obviously we don't want to come across as we're bashing marriage or we're against marriage.
Oh my gosh,
for those
marriage.
For those
marriage.
Which marriage have you been in so far?
No, I love the idea of marriage.
So for those of young girls out there, not young, but for young adults out there who feel like they're ready into marriage, that's great, so long as you're doing it out of your own free will and not because somebody's pressuring you. So we're not saying that marriage at 23, 24, 25 is bad, as long as the reasoning behind that marriage is authentic and it's because it's something that you want. And in terms of how to avoid this pressure, I think most of it also comes from within yourself.
Definitely.
Because I chose to just remove the pressure. I was like, no pressure here. So I feel no pressure when anybody questions me about marriage. I just look at them and my heart is content. My heart is free.
And it's because you know yourself.
I know myself, and I choose not to allow other people to pressurize me. And I think that's one thing that girls who might be feeling pressured, even men, maybe some men are feeling pressured out there. If you're feeling pressured, it's just about removing that pressure from within yourself and not allowing the opinions of others to determine how you feel, because oftentimes there are a lot of comments that people may make can affect you internally and lead you into having that pressure. But if you don't, obviously listen to what they're saying, but don't take it to heart. Like if only you know your journey, and only you know where you want to end up.
Only you're gonna live your life. They're not gonna be there.
So these people can pressure you into this marriage, but they're not going to be with you. They're at home with your husband or your wife. And if you were never ready in the first place, you end up resenting the person you've married and feeling like they hindered you from something that you wanted to do. So it's best to obviously take the advice on board, but at the end of the day, only you know the dream and the vision that you've had for your life. And it's only you and your actions that can take you there. And on that note, I think we've said everything that needs to be said.
That needed to be said.
But
it seems slightly like biased because we're talking about women, but we're only talking from our experiences and our experiences on talking to other women. But if there's anything else that you think we should have spoken about,
perhaps from a male's perspective,
definitely,
it would be nice to hear from. Like if any men out there feel pressure, you to share.
Share it. Comment, like,
subscribe, share, and watch the next video.
Stay tuned.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye.